Hi friends, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley. If this is your first time here, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I am very excited to be filming this video because we're going to be doing something that I've always wanted to do but never really made the time to do or really planned or thought it out. We're going to be doing a weekend readathon, and this was a very last minute decision. I had one of my friends on Instagram post that she was thinking about doing one this weekend, and I thought, you know what, let me join in and see how much reading I can get done. I'm on a break from writing right now. The creative well needs to be filled. The inspiration needs to be grasped, attained, and that's what we're going to be working on. So it is Friday, and the plan is to read as much as I possibly can this weekend. I'm currently in the middle of 2 books. I think I'm literally at 50% with both of them. So it would be fantastic to finish both of those very quickly so that I can jump into something else. I think the overarching goal is to try to read as much as I can within 24 hours. So I will have the timer set on my phone for 24 hours, and anytime I am seated and actively reading, the timer will be going. Outside of the 2 books that I'm currently reading right now, which is The Butcher by Penelope Sky. I'll post a picture of it here. And I'm also reading Rafe by Rebecca Witherspoon, and I have a very gorgeous edition of that book, and I will show that to you in a different clip. But here's the e-book cover here, so you know what book I'm talking about. And I'm enjoying both of these. So I'm going to take you along for the journey, and I will just keep you updated with my progress. We don't have a ton of stuff going on this weekend. My oldest has a volleyball game scrimmage tonight, and outside of that, I don't really have anything. I do have a hair appointment on Sunday, but I'm just going to use that time to read as well and go from there. So you will see me again once I am back with books and able to give a reading update. Okay, it is later in the afternoon, really at night. We just got home from the volleyball game and had dinner. I changed into comfy clothes, and I'm just now about to start the readathon, which means that I could possibly only get like 3 or 4 hours tonight because I don't foresee myself reading past like midnight or maybe even 1. It is currently 9:15, so we shall see. I do need to decide what I'm going to read though, and so my choices are to continue Rafe, which I am really enjoying this. I think I'm technically at like the 45% mark. I'm not far from the halfway mark. Yeah, I'm not far from halfway with this book. Or if I'm going to continue The Butcher, I'm currently 55% in this book, and I read this book majority today, like when I woke up this morning, and on the few breaks that I had before I actually decided to do this readathon, I was reading on this. So this is where my focus has been most of the day. So I think I'm going to read Rafe and see how far I get tonight. Rafe follows, of course, Rafe and Sloane. Sloane is like a doctor prodigy, and she has 2 twin girls, and she finds herself in the position of needing a new babysitter or new nanny, live-in nanny. And Rafe is a male nanny, and like his story picks up where like the family that he's currently working for is moving. He's kind of in a place where he's like, I need to maybe start phasing out of the nanny world, but he decided to take this job position and start looking for something different, or like preparing himself to transition into a different line of business. Now this book is not short, and it moves at a very quick clip. I don't know what I was expecting, but I am very surprised and really actually loving this book. It reads super quickly, and I really appreciate what the author is doing as far as like letting the reader know that attraction is there, but also like moving through the story because you don't have a lot of time. Sloane is very naive, I would say, and you find that out throughout the story. Like there's just certain things, I guess, with how her past was set up that didn't allow her to have like normal lived experiences that somebody her age may have because she was so focused on career. But Rafe is like, I think I'm about to collect a new book boyfriend because number one, just the whole dynamic of the interracial relationship, but also like nannying 2 young Black children. And the author just does a really good job of showing, I'm not going to say of showing no color, but of showing these cultures mixing together. He's just very attentive towards not only the girls that he's watching, but Sloane. So I am enjoying this, and I think I'm gonna see. Maybe if I'm in like the reading mode, I will finish this tonight, or at least get close to it. We'll see. I'll be back when I have an update. Okay, it is day 3 of this weekend readathon vlog, and it's gonna last longer than the weekend because I severely underestimated, number one, how much time I would have, but number two, how long it would take me to read for 24 hours, which is crazy when you think about it. So yesterday was kind of like my chill, do nothing day because I absolutely needed it. I literally sat on the couch and watched movies and TV and read and just relaxed. That was my whole goal for yesterday. I'm up early today because I have a hair appointment in about 45 minutes, but I was gonna quickly try to make me some coffee before I left. I wanted to give an update about where I am in my books and where I am time-wise. So let's start time-wise because I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, we are only at 20 hours of reading time, meaning that I have only read 4 hours. Like, I started the timer counting down and thinking like, oh, I don't know, y'all. From Friday night to yesterday, I only read 4 hours, which is crazy. Now, I will say that Friday night, I stopped reading after about probably 50 minutes and was watching the live stream of night 1 in Las Vegas of the Cowboy Carter tour. And I should have been reading because I was up for like 2.5 hours after I stopped reading. And yeah, so that was just me up watching Beyonce. That's where that time went. And then yesterday, even though I spent a lot of time like chilling and sitting, I only read, it looks like, about 3 hours and some change. So yeah, what I am going to do is continue this vlog until I have read 24 hours. That's going to be interesting to see considering today is Sunday and life starts back tomorrow. But I can give you an update on what I am reading and what I am loving. And we'll just start with this first because I think I'm gonna read this. I only have 40 more pages left to go in this book, and I don't know, like, I love this. And at the beginning of the book it says like this is very cozy, very comfortable, very like low stakes, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate the story that's being told because even though it is low stakes, cozy, comfortable read, we're still getting character growth, character development, and we are seeing like the attraction. I will say it is a bit insta lovey, but not in a way of like obsession. Like, it's definitely given like I met somebody and, you know, we went out one night and could not stay away from each other and we've just been hanging out ever since. It does give that. It's not insta-lovey in like saying I love you after 3 days. It's insta-lovey in like just really showing high infatuation and attraction after, you know, a short period of time. And I love it. It's very good. I love the kids. They are so funny, and I'm just really glad that I picked this up. I would really hope that Novel Ground would do special covers for the other 2 books. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I adore this cover, and I usually like, I don't like real people on my covers. I love the cartoon covers, and when I saw this I was like, absolutely. So hopefully we shall see, but I do plan to continue this series. I really love the character that the next book is going to be following, and I cannot wait to read her story. And yeah, I'm having a good time with this. Would highly recommend. Like I said, I only have 40 pages left and I love everything about it. My Kindle is plugged up, but I am going to show you The Butcher by Penelope Sky. I don't think I talked much about this book because I picked up Wrath the other night, so I can give you the synopsis. Basically, we have our female main character, Fleur, who is going through a messy divorce. Well, really trying to go through a messy divorce. Her husband, soon to be ex-husband, is a pig-headed jerk, and she is doing the right thing by leaving him. And she ends up having what she thought was gonna be like a one-night stand or like a casual situation with Bastin. I don't know, I'm not French. It's set in Paris, which I think the author lives overseas, but don't quote me on that. And of course, you know, as all darker leaning romances do, our main male character, you know, decides he wants her, and he wants her for more than one night. And so we're basically following that story along with seeing her grapple with this major change that is happening in her life. And I don't really want to say learning to fall for somebody else, but I am really proud of the fact that while the male main character is like, I want more with you, like you're my woman type situation, she is very clearly being like, this is just casual. You and I are just sleeping around. I'm literally about to be going through a divorce. I've only been separated from my husband for like 3 months, and I want to live life love, or at least try to. So yes, I'm glad that she's able to stick with that like feeling and not feel like she has to change or compromise her wants because he is like being territorial and like really wanting to make her his. But I would just say this book is very high spice. I would say this is a soft entry into dark romance. The male main character is morally gray in the way of like he works for the government, but he is like on the shady side of the government, and like he does all the dirty work. Basically his job is to keep the criminals in check. In a way, they allow crime to happen, but there's like a code, and if criminals break that code, then they have to answer to him, the butcher. I'm having a good time with it. I mean, it's a dark romance. It's very short. The heat is very high, so that's kind of, you know, my sweet spot when I'm looking for something to read and that I know that I'm pretty much going to enjoy, and it's checking the boxes. Like nothing crazy has been said, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah, so that is my update from what I have read since Friday night. Like I said, I have a hair appointment, so I am hoping to get more reading done during that. And yeah, we shall see. Hopefully, I'm gonna see if I can get through Raph before I leave, and then I'll have another update for you all once it happens. Okay, I am back with an update. I wanted to let you know that I finished both books that I was in the middle of. So the first book that I finished was The Butcher by Penelope Sky, and I ended up enjoying that book. I would highly recommend if you are a fan of darker romances, but also it's not like dark in a like outrageous way. Our main male character is more of a vigilante, if you will. I think I gave a description in my last update of kind of what he does. He just keeps order in the criminal underworld. So it's not like, it's not an unhinged read. I will say that. I will say that if you are wanting to try darker leaning romances, I would definitely say pick that book up. It's a good, I feel like, jumping point. I did, like I said, end up enjoying it. It was super quick, and I guess going into it, I went in under the impression that each book is a interconnected standalone, but there was nothing that really challenged the relationship or the people and them like being together. And then when I got to the end, it said more of their story in the next book. So that made me think that more like whatever the threat is going to be introduced later in the series. Do I feel compelled to jump into the next book? Yes and no, because I've read Penelope Sky before and I know that she builds a vast world, and I tend to like how her characters come together and like how the stories play out. So yes and no, like I said, but that was a KU borrow, and right now I am trying not to borrow anything else from KU because I need to read the things that have just been chilling on there for as long as I can remember. And so I did pick my top 3 KU reads, and I put a poll up on my Instagram for them to decide which book that I'm going to read. It hasn't been up long, but let's just take a gander to see what is in the lead at the moment. Okay, so right now, Redeemed by Lauren Asher and Bright Lights and Summer Nights by Kat Singleton are tied with 40% of the votes. So that's quite interesting. I'm very curious to see where that is going to land. I don't know when I'm actually going to pick that Kindle read. It might be tonight or tomorrow. Here's the thing. If Bright Lights and Summer Nights wins, I know that I will probably be able to read through that very quickly because the other 2 books in that series move pretty fast. If Redeemed by Lauren Asher wins or Hopeless by Elsie Silver wins, I fear I might be taking those into August with me. Both of those series, each book in the series has been like a longer telling. So I'm just preparing myself for that. All 3 of the books that I picked though would close out an open series that I have, which, you know, at the end of the day is really the goal. Yeah, that is the goal. I need to update and see where I am with my open series and what I plan to continue. But anyways, I digress. So then the next book that I finished today was Rafe. His name is Raphael, so take that as you will. I adore this. Cute, cozy, heartwarming. I actually wanted more pages in this book. I wanted to know more. We did get a little bit of conflict at the end. It was just enough and it was resolved chef's kiss. We love to see it. We did get an epilogue and a lead-in to the next book in the series that I do plan on reading. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what I was actually expecting when I picked this book up. I'm very pleasantly surprised. I loved every minute of this. Would highly recommend. You have single mom trope, what I call this, forbidden love, or like secrets, like they have to kind of sneak around a little bit because the kids, I don't know, it was just really cute. And I like how it all came together. I like the time of the stories. The other characters that were introduced, it was a joy reading them. So overall, 1000% love this. So I think I said this morning in my earlier update that I'm probably just gonna ride this out and see how long it takes me to read for 24 hours. Right now, I have 18 hours and 3 minutes left to hit that 24-hour goal. I'm also curious, not only how long will it take me to get through those 24 hours, but how many books could I read in those 24 hours? We shall see. So obviously I had to choose my next read, and right now I'm trying to choose my next physical read. Instagram's gonna choose my next Kindle read, but I want to be physically holding the book when I have the time to do so. And I did not record myself because I didn't think about it. I'm gonna move you all. Okay, so initially I came over to my TBR cart because this is where I should be pulling from when it comes to picking my next physical read and not like a newer book or something off the shelves. We need to be here. So I counted the books that are on here at the moment. It was 42 because I have books pulled off for another video, and I pulled the number 34. I wish I would have screenshotted it or something, but regardless, I pulled The Inheritance Game, and this book has been on my TBR for quite some time. It is a highly anticipated series because I've only heard great things about it. And initially when I pulled it, I was extremely excited. I read the synopsis again just to refresh my brain. And I will be honest, the only thing that's really holding me back is I know this is YA, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to read a YA book. So I did want to give myself another option to pick from. Well, and then also I reminded myself whatever book I'm going to be reading on my Kindle is not going to be YA. So that was reassuring. But my other plan was to either do another Google number generator or to pull a prompt. So I'm going to pull a prompt from my prompt jar and then see if I can find a book to match that prompt, and then between the two books that I pulled, figure out which one I want to read. Or I may let my family vote, but that's only if it is like an extremely hard decision. Most anticipated read. Okay, let's see. I have a few up here, honestly. So I would say this top row is my most anticipated. I don't know, because literally this entire cart is highly anticipated reads. So let me think about this, because I'm also being very cautious about page count because I realize there are only 5 days left in the month, and I want to try to not carry over any books. Okay, so The Inheritance Game is 376 pages, which I feel like is a pretty doable number. Don't want to go over that amount, so nothing bigger than that. Which already clears out like the fantasy reads. So before, when I started this weekend readathon, my thought process was if I finish the current books that I was in, the next book I was going to pick up was The Love Hypothesis, because I do want to hop into this. But we are looking at almost 400 pages with The Love Hypothesis. It's not quite 400 pages, so I'll see. This will be in the stack of like maybes to choose from. Okay, so and then when I decided to continue the series and then just pick books to finish out the month with, I also thought about doing Beg, Borrow, and Steal. This is the next book in the, I think, When in Rome series is what it's called. And it was a highly anticipated read when I got it at the beginning of the year. This book has 360 pages, so it's less than The Inheritance Game, which I pulled just now when I was coming in here and trying to think of what book would I pick up that I feel like would be a quick read and that I would probably enjoy. I thought Done and Dusted, and I know this is shorter. Okay, so we're looking at 321 pages, but if Hopeless wins, I don't want to be reading 2 cowboy romances at the same time. So I'm gonna think about this and then I will let you all know what I decide to pick out of the most unhelpful prompt that I probably could have pulled. Okay, so I had a little bit of a break in between the last time that you saw me and now. School is right around the corner, so we did some school shopping today. Probably my least favorite kind of shopping to do, but it's done and the girls are happy, so what more could I ask for? So the last time that you saw me, I was trying to decide what my next physical read was going to be, and I was choosing between the Google number generator pick and the pull from my TBR jar to pick or find my most anticipated read that I was going to choose between. In the middle of me doing that, my family came in here and my husband suggested that the oldest pick my next read, and between The Inheritance Game and The Love Hypothesis, she picked The Inheritance Game. And I will be honest, my heart was racing as she was getting ready to select, because in my head, I wanted to pick this. So I was very excited that this is the one that she picked, and this is going to be the one that I get started with, hopefully today. But I still have a lot of stuff to do before I get to that point. The other thing that I wanted to update you all on is I have been keeping track of the Instagram poll that I put up, and what do you know? I called it. At this point, this story has been up for 4 hours. So we have 22% of the people going for Redeemed by Lauren Asher. We have 67% of the people going for Hopeless by LC Silver, and then 11% of the people going for Bright Lights and Summer Nights. So there we go. That's where we're at. And honestly, I'm thinking that I will probably wait until it's time for me to get in bed before I decide wherever the poll is at. That's what I'm going to start reading. I don't think that any other title is going to jump ahead of Hopeless because it has a lot of votes. So yeah, that is going to be my Kindle read, more than likely, that I will start tonight when it's time for me to lay down. That's usually when I read on my Kindle, is in bed anyway. But I will go ahead and download it to my Kindle so it's ready for me to open up. But I am excited to finish that series and check a series off. So I can't complain too much. And this is the last, this is the last one. And I don't really know how people feel about that one. I guess it doesn't really matter. It just matters how I feel about it. So yeah, that is all for now. Once I have a reading update, you will hear from me again. Hopefully I have time to read tonight. We still have to do dinner. I need to finish up this YouTube video. I have a mountain of laundry that I need to get through. Oh, my library hold for We Used to Live Here by Marcus, I don't know his last name, I'm not gonna butcher it, but I will have a picture up of this book here, came in. So I am thrilled to be starting that. It is a 9 hour and 53 minute audiobook. It is a thriller, and that is gonna be what I listen to while I get housework done, and probably while I'm working doing mindless stuff this week. So I'm excited. Is my reader girl era being revived? Is this a resurgence of the reader within me? Lord, I hope so. Y'all, the afternoon has completely got away from me. Afternoon, nighttime. It is 11 o'clock at night. I'm technically supposed to be in bed right now, but I wanted to give a reading update and a time update. So I knocked off another hour. I currently have 16 hours and 56 minutes to go before I reach 24 hours read. And yeah, that is thanks to a large pile of laundry, as you would have seen, and the book We Used to Live Here. I did start that. I am officially about an hour and 15 minutes in, and yeah, I have thoughts. So first of all, listening to a thriller. So I think I listened to a mystery before. It was like a detective mystery where the female main character was trying to solve a mystery surrounding her sister's death, I believe. And this is spooky scary to listen to. And I immediately started questioning whether or not I should be listening to this book. But it already has character. It has me second guessing the characters. I mean, literally from the first paragraph. I have not read the synopsis of this book. I actually saw I want to say Books and Lala talking about this book, or maybe she had talked about the author very recently in one of her videos because they're coming out with a new book, and that is what made me pick this up. And I just already feel unsettled. And there are parts of the audiobook that have like almost like an old school like news thing, or like, I don't know, like a beeping thing. Unsettled. But Eve, I think that's her name, who is working on this house with her partner, who's, I believe her name is Charlie, has these people show up at her house one evening saying, we used to live here, or he used to live here, and was basically asking if he could take his family around the house to show them things. And basically Evie does not listen to her gut, and she lets these people into her house, and it's just a lot of spooky, scary things going on. First of all, she has this, like, I'm gonna call her inner monologue, or basically her gut feeling, named, and it is like one of those creepy monkey circus toys, like, that she visualizes. And to that I say, why? But also, not only is that the visual of her inner monologue, or, you know, the bad voice that tells her that things are gonna happen, but also, why is it so creepy? Like, the voice actor that's doing this, wow. Because I'm already shooketh an hour into this book, and I am quite terrified. Mercy, I'm so tired. Hopefully I can talk about this book without giving any spoilers away, but I'm already shook to my core, and yeah, just excited to see where this story goes. I am about to get ready for bed, and while I lay in bed until I fall asleep, I am going to read Hopeless by Elsie Silver. I'm going to go ahead and start that. Hopefully I can get a chapter in. This book is 9 hours and 43 minutes. Love that for me. So I do know that this book follows the, I believe, older sibling. I can't remember what their last names are. Is it Eaton, maybe? But it follows the older sibling who was in the military, I believe was discharged, and it also follows the town's mischievous boys, bad boy group, their little sister, who is trying to do good and make a name for herself and not be grouped in with the likes of her brothers, I believe. And I do know this is a fake dating or arranged marriage situation, and yeah, they're both clearly going through it. And I will just say, I think the thing that has held me off from starting this book as long as it has is that it is going to take a while for these two to, like, for real be together. It is a romance, so I'm expecting full-on happily ever after, but I think it's going to take a while before they realize it, and that is what has held me back, because I am honestly not the biggest fan of fake dating unless the two by the halfway point realize, oh, we're not faking it anymore, this is very much real and I very much need this. But I also am holding space because I feel like this is going to be a big story about healing, and it's going to take time for these two to heal, and maybe they're going to find that within each other. That's my predictions, that's my hopes. Before I completely lock in on this book, let me just check the Instagram poll and see what the peeps are saying. Currently, we are 70% with Hopeless by Elsie Silver, 20% with Redeemed by Lauren Asher, and 10% with Bright Lights and Summer Nights by Kat Singleton. So it's safe to say, I believe, to go ahead and start this, and I'll check it again in the morning, but I don't foresee these numbers changing. I shall have an update once I read more and have an update to give. I owe you all a reading update. It's probably been 2 days video-wise since you have saw me, but I want to give you an update on where I am time-wise and what I have been reading. So as far as time, I still have 12 hours and 22 minutes to go in this 24-hour reading challenge, and I don't know how to feel about that. Like, why is it taking me so long to read for 24 hours? And I will say, like, last night I was reading almost from the time that I got off work to the time I went to bed. I would say a total of like 3 to 4 hours. It just blows my mind, I think, about how long it takes to, like, for me to read 24 hours, especially because of all the stuff that I have going on. I guess it really shouldn't be a surprise, but it is. Okay, where do I want to start with my updates? I think I'll probably start with the audiobook, and that is We Used to Live Here. I am 15% into this audiobook, and things have gotten interesting. I think that the last time I updated you all on this book, I was telling you that these people showed up at Eve's house and basically were like, we used to live here. Are you okay if we tour the place? And she did not listen to her gut and let these people into her house. And now their youngest child is playing a game of hide and seek and will not come out. And not only is she doing that, but the father is like, oh, just let her hide, let her stick in her little cubby hole for the next 20 or 30 minutes and she'll come out. I don't know, the whole situation is quite crazy, but Eve's partner Charlie has come home. So a part of me is like, I'm so glad that you're not now here by yourself, but also there is a storm brewing outside. So these people are not going anywhere. So again, why did you let these people in your house? Okay, so that's where I am. Not much more I've been able to read. I do have kind of like some mindless work that I have to do today for like my 9-to-5 job. So I'm going to pop on my headphones and listen to this book while I'm working and hopefully get that 12 hours down quickly. So the next book that I'm going to talk about is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. I am about 6% into it. I think I've only gotten to chapter 3, but we are dealing with Bo and Bailey. And I was wrong. I think I said earlier in this vlog that Bo was the older sibling, and I don't think he is. I think he's the second oldest because Cade is the oldest, which Cade's book is my absolute favorite. But we have met Bo and Bailey, and I think I also said before that this book kind of has kind of weird reviews, but I immediately understood, like in Bo's first chapter, like what this story was going to dive into, and that we were going to be dealing with a bit of like heavier material. And I really like how it started off so far. I like that Bailey, you know, when we've seen her in the past, she has been described as like very soft-spoken and like very shy, but like when you see her, she is very no nonsense and, you know, has a very particular way of doing things just because of the reputation her family has in town. I was really happy to see how that has played out so far. Again, I've only read 2 chapters. I do plan to get back to this book at some point today. I did put a hold on it just because other things have come up, which I'm going to talk about now. I have been reading my book for multiple reasons. First and foremost, I got my physical copy last week and I had started reading the ARC version on my Kindle. And when the physical copies came in, I was like, oh, I'm going to read this. I kind of had to put a rush on this read because my ARC copies are actually going out this Friday. So I would really like to be through my first reread of the final product before they actually go out. So yeah, when I say I read a lot yesterday, it was me reading this book because I needed to get through it, and I am feeling all of the emotions. I'm not gonna go too far into it right now just because I'm not, but I am feeling equal parts of pride, very proud of myself for what I was able to accomplish. But if you are creative or a writer, or, you know, do anything where you have to put a final product out into the world, you know what it's like to be reading or listening or viewing your final product and thinking, oh, I should have done this, or oh, I could have done more here, I could have done more there. And I'm trying to get through this read as quickly as possible so that I can stop doing that. Because I honestly feel like on Friday when the ARC reads go out, and I have an ARC team of like 25 people, which is crazy to me. But when the ARCs go out, I feel like the pressure of like making any last minute changes are done because it's out. I am trying to turn my brain from like, you are no longer editing, sister. You are just reading. We're not editing. We're reading. So that is where most of my time has gone. I am about, I think my Kindle said last night I was 58% through this book, which means I'm almost done. I'm on page 179 and there's only like 296 like story pages. I hope everybody else has a good time reading this. Okay, and then the last book that I'm going to talk about is The Inheritance Game. And I wish I just had a day off from work to do nothing but sit and read this book, because this is one of those YA books that I've heard people talk about, and it has become an anticipated read, a highly anticipated read. I believe it's this series and the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series that has always been like one of those books that I'm like, I need to make time to read it. I need to make time to read it. I am so glad that between the Google number generator and my oldest daughter picking this book that I just stuck with it and picked it up. It is so good. I can't even tell y'all. I don't even know. I'm maybe a quarter of a way through, if that. There it is. This is what I've read. This is what I've left. But when I say I am having the best time with this, the writing is fantastic. The story building is so good. Like, I am hooked. And one thing that I love most are quick, snappy chapters, and that's what these chapters are. They move so quick through the story. They give you the information that you need and just keep pushing you along. And I think obviously I knew the premise of this book coming in, and if you don't, I'll quickly tell you. It is about a girl, Avery, who is dirt poor, living in not so great conditions, and she inherits billions of dollars. Billions. She is put into this man's will that she does not know, has never met, and all of a sudden she's taken from her school one day to go to a will reading, and with his family there, finds out that he not only snubbed his family, I think his children and grandchildren together ended up getting maybe like $4 million, but the rest of his money and estates and property and everything that this man owns, he leaves to this teenager. And I love to see it. Like, you see Avery, you meet her at the beginning of the story, and you clearly see that she's had a rough upbringing. She has lost her mother, and she's a bright woman, a bright girl. She's very smart, and you can tell right off the bat that like she is not just some average kid. There's clearly a high IQ situation going on here, but like, you feel sorry for her, obviously, because she's a teenager who is like working and scrapping to survive. But she's also not like, I don't want to say, I wouldn't expect a character like that to be bratty, but she's very, again, no nonsense and wants to do right by other people. Like, there's a homeless man in the park that she stops and plays chess with each morning, but she plays chess for the sole purpose to beat him and buy him breakfast, because that is their deal. If I win, I buy you breakfast, and you have to eat it with no complaints. And once she gets this money and she realizes like she has this money and she can change lives, she's trying to figure out how she can distribute this wealth and not sit on it. At least that's kind of what it came to me at the beginning of the story. So that alone, like, the story has hooked me in. I'm hooked. I'm very invested on where this story is going to go. When we throw the brothers in, I don't really know what to think about the brothers. So you have Nash, is it Jameson, Grayson, and I think it's Alexander, and they call him Xander. So you have the four brothers, Nash being the oldest. I think Xander is the youngest, and Grayson is the one who expected to be the heir apparent and get a majority of the wealth from his grandfather. And I don't think that this is gonna go into like a love story situation. Only 2, maybe 3 of the brothers are her age, but I don't want that. Like, let me just say, okay, what do I want to come from this story? There's clearly some game element that the grandfather is playing, and I don't want to give away what his letter to Avery says, because he does have a letter for everybody. I don't want to give away what that says, but just kind of the way things are being introduced to Avery, living in this mansion that she has to live in for a year to fully get like the entire inheritance. There's clearly a larger game at play, and that is something that was said in the synopsis. So I'm very curious to see how this is all going to play out. I'm never smart enough to figure out the riddles of these books. I'm legit along for the ride, and I will find out when the main character finds out. But I'm having a fantastic time. I'm so excited to get through the rest of this book, and that makes me very happy that literally everything that I am reading and consuming right now is like good. I'm anxious to read more. I'm anxious to know more. And so that is my update for now. This clip has been 15 minutes long. This video is going to be a bear to edit, I can already tell. So once I have another update, I will be sure to bring it to you. Okay, I have a really quick update. We have pretty much made it to the end of the day. I have finished the physical read of Redeemed, and I am very happy and proud. So that is one book that I was actively juggling that is done. Let's check in on my time. I am down to 11 hours and 4 minutes on the clock, so I am making progress. We have crossed the halfway point. I think that my focus from this point on is going to be the inheritance game, because I don't mind bringing in an audiobook and ebook into a new month, because my TBR usually consists of physical reads. So with that being said, I can start my actual physical TBR for the month of August on Friday, or fairly quickly. I doubt I will finish the Inheritance game before Friday, but stranger things have happened. I've decided to give myself a cutoff. I would like to be through these 11 hours by Sunday. So we shall see. I'm prepared to lose sleep. I really am. It's the end of the week. I don't have any like major things to do. This is the last part of the week that I'm like actively taking off from writing and like spending time writing, so I'm totally comfortable with making that decision. And yeah, I feel like the way I flew through Redeemed, I can move that energy onto the other books, and that's why I feel really comfortable with putting the Inheritance game as my next read, because when I pick that up I fly through it, so I know if I have like uninterrupted time I'm gonna get through it. So that is my goal. I have some work that I need to finish up for my ARC reads that are going out this week, and I am going to be officially setting my publishing date on Amazon, and I think setting my pre-orders in Amazon. I'm either gonna do that tonight or I'm going to do that on Friday. I have not decided yet, but that's where we are, and I will give you more updates when I have them. Okay, I genuinely do not know the last time that I updated you. I want to say it was Friday, so we're gonna go with that, but a lot has happened since whenever the last update was. To show you how much time I have left on this 24-hour countdown, we have 1 hour and 11 minutes left, and a part of me feels like I can get that done tonight. Another part of me feels like I'm exhausted, but we will see. We will try. But let me catch you up on what I have read, and I'm going to start off with the audiobook because that is what I have been reading most recently. And We Used to Live Here, I don't know how I'm feeling about it. Like, I'm enjoying the listen, but the main character, I'm starting to feel like she is unreliable just because of certain things that have happened. And I don't want to give too much away because it's a thriller, but the way she's recalling things and seeing things, and then like some of the conversations that she has had, is making me feel like when I read Girl on the Train, or Girl on the Train, I think, just very like, just don't know if I can trust her. And I don't know anything about this book. I don't even think I read the synopsis before I went into it. But like, just some of the decisions that she's making is like, girl, what? So these people are still in her house, and her partner came home. They had dinner together. It was very weird and awkward. The little girl showed up, and like, of course, because the weather was bad, the family ends up staying in this home for a night. And the next morning, instead of like sending these people on their way, like, she's in an awkward situation, and her partner, I feel like, puts her in this awkward situation. But also, I don't like her partner. Like, this is not somebody that you should trust. Point blank, period. Okay. And just the way her partner like just kind of brushes off her concerns, it's just a lot. And then like, I don't know, just some of the decisions that the lead character is making, I just don't like it. Like, I would not have made it. First of all, if it was me in the situation, we wouldn't have a book, because when they showed up and was like, I used to live here, can I walk around? And I'm home by myself, it's a no. It is a no. Also, fresh off of a watch of Sinners, it's definitely a no. We're not inviting you into a house. You could be a vampire. Period. So needless to say, I am enjoying We Used to Live Here. I am at 57% of that book, and I feel like I will probably finish it tomorrow while I'm working. At least that is going to be my goal, because I want to wrap up all these books very quickly. I know I've been saying that, and today is Sunday, and it was the cutoff time that I was going to give myself on the actual 24 hours, like to reach the 24 hours. But because I feel like I am going to hit that 24-hour mark tonight, and I'm still 50% of the way through all 3 books, I think I'm just going to keep this video going until I finish them, which, fingers crossed, should not take me long, because I've been reading at a really good clip. Even though I'm coming off of a weekend, I've still been really reading pretty good. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Hopeless, and I am eating this book up. Like, when I say that I was scared to start this book, just because like people were saying that it was their least favorite in the series, Bo and Bailey, chef's kiss, give me more. I am at either 49 or 48% of this book, and I am loving it. Like, I feel like it is like the perfect pace. I feel like these two are absolutely the best for each other. Okay, so when I like had read stuff about it before, I thought Bo was going to be completely different. I thought he was going to be acting in a totally different way, but he's acting just like I would expect somebody in his position to act. And I love that Bailey calls him out on her stuff. And she is the absolute most perfect person to do so because she has had such a rough life and rough upbringing. And it's like, yes, you went through something. Yes, you have trauma, but you're not doing yourself or anybody else any good by like not seeking help or not trying to better yourself. And I think it works because he has enough people in his life who are like just trying to be that, I don't want to say shining light, but like trying to be that shoulder he can lean on and that person for him. And like Bailey comes in is like, we can talk about it. You can get it out. I'm going to let you be okay with this not being okay, but I'm also going to tell you the hard truths that you need to hear. And I'm just eating it up. I love it so much. I am very apprehensive of how the second half of this book is going to go. But as of right now, we're having a fantastic time. And I love that for me. Now, I have been thinking about this so much because I have been enjoying this book. And that is my ranking of the Chestnut Spring series. And I'm just going to call it right now. If I continue to love this book, I feel like my ranking is going to be... So we're going to go Heartless, which is book 2. Hopeless, which is book 5. My current read, I am putting that at book 2. I mean at level 2 because I'm loving it that much. Then we're going to go Reckless, which is book 4. Absolutely adored that book. Then we're going to go Powerless, which is book 3. And then lastly, Flawless, which is book 1 and my least favorite book. And I would feel safe in saying ranking the couples in that order as well. Willa and Cade. Willa, no, honestly, she is my favorite person in this whole cinematic universe, okay? There is a point in this book, Hopeless, where they are trying to play off this fake arrangement. And God bless Willa. When I read her part, I literally laughed out loud. Like, that's the only thing that I have highlighted in this book. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot that I have enjoyed, but that one little piece I highlighted, and that's the only thing that was like, yes, I need to document this. It is so good. I love Willa. I would just say that. Now, I don't know if it's the cowboy fairy dust that's floating around right now, but reading this book is making me want to own the physical copy of this series. And it's making me want to revisit book 1, which I enjoyed, but not as much as I enjoyed others, and definitely makes me want to revisit book 3 because I think I was expecting a little more hockey out of that book, and that is why it didn't hold up as high for me. Also, I am just not crazy about like friends to lovers, it's always been you type of trope. I'm not crazy about that either, but I think going into it with different expectations, I will feel different about it now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just having a resurgence of this series, the love of this series, and maybe I need to have them on my shelves. So we shall see how I feel at the end of this book. But as of right now, I'm loving Hopeless. That was a long way to say we're loving her. Okay, and then the last book we're going to talk about is The Inheritance Game. Now, I don't really know how much I can go into with this book. I am 50% into it, and I am greatly enjoying it. The pacing of this book is fantastic. The character, not development, but like the personality traits of the character, I legit feel like I am reading like about real people and like how different they are. And Jennifer Lynn Barnes has done such a fantastic job of building these characters and making you really feel like they are different people. From a writing perspective, it is so enriching to even read. I'm loving every second of this. The plot of the book, I'm so engaged, and I'm really like, you know, the overarching mystery of it all, but I love that it has been brought down into like a game perspective. Like, we are looking for clues. We are trying to figure out the riddle. Like, I love everything about that. It's just a perfect storm of a good situation and just how things are coming out, how things are coming together. And I don't know how I would feel with other perspectives, but I don't mind being in Avery's mind. Like, yes, she's a teenager and she thinks like a teenager. She's very apprehensive, but I think she also like is a product of her raising, of her environment. So she's not just like doe-eyed, and I love that about her. And I think I'm okay with not having other POVs and just living in her head. I did tell my friend earlier today, because I was telling her that I was reading this book, and you know, she said she really loved it. And while reading this, I feel like I want to pick up more young adult fantasy. And I say that because I feel like there's more put into the fantasy itself and not so much focus on the romance. And don't get me wrong, I love romantasy, but I love the plot and the intrigue. This is not fantasy. I know I'm going on a tangent here. This is not fantasy, but reading this type of, I guess, thriller, mystery, I don't really know what it falls under. But reading this and like how thought out it is, and like you can see that there's like a sprinkling or spatter of what could possibly be a romance. I don't think we're gonna get that, and I won't be mad if we don't get it. But I'm having the exact same feeling reading this book that I had reading the Remnant Chronicle series, and that is a YA fantasy series, and I absolutely adored it. There was like a love interest in it and a love triangle even, but it played out so good. And I'm having the exact same like feelings and emotions that those books evoked out of these books. And I know that's crazy for me to say, because I'm always like, I feel like I'm like getting away from YA, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I just haven't been reading the right YAs when I picked them up before. But this has like reinvigorated the like, let's prioritize some of the YA books on your shelf. That's just me. I don't know. But I'm having a fantastic time literally with everything that I'm reading right now. So that is why I want to continue this video and let you all know my final thoughts. Hopefully final thoughts will be coming very soon, but I do plan to get rid of this 1 hour on the 24-hour readathon like right now. I'm done with my work for the day. So I'm gonna sit and read until it's time for me to pass out. And that is all. You'll see me again once I have another reading update for you all. Okay, it is the next day and I have some reading updates. So I did finish my 24 hours last night. Yay me. I also finished a book last night. I read the entire second half of Hopeless and I absolutely loved it. It was a fantastic book. I feel like it is definitely number 2 in the series for me. I really enjoyed the characters, and I will also say this, that the not really big bad, but like the kind of mini fallout that the couple has, and I would not even call it a third act breakup. I did not see that coming, but I feel like what happens was dropped in other books that I just completely forgot about because it had been a while since I had read the other stories. But what I can say is I like the way that conflict happened, and I just think it was like the perfect test of things. What I enjoyed the most is that the party that was hurt and upset, like they didn't fly off the deep end. They just asked for space to think. Like that to me is such a human reaction, such a mature reaction, to ask for space to like process what has happened. And I just love that. I stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning last night finishing that book. Like I literally, my brain would not shut off until I finished it, and I'm glad I did. I'm really happy with how it ended. I know like each book has a after the book like of the couple and like their whole situation, but I'm just curious, like are we just done? Or I know like the next series that she's I think actively releasing, or maybe the last book has just come out, like I think the Wild series. I don't even know what it's called, but I know it's like Wild Eyes and Wild something. I'm slightly intrigued to pick it up, mainly because I feel like with the first book, because I think that follows Ford, which is Willa's brother, so I will see more of Willa maybe. So I might go ahead and like put that on the back of my mind, because I'll be honest, going into this book I really had no intentions of even reading that series, but the writing in this book was just so good. It was so good. So yeah, I finished that and I'm glad that I did. I have also read more of We Used to Live Here. I am now at 75%. I will probably finish that tomorrow if I don't finish it at some point tonight. I'm now listening to it at 1.75 speed because I really want to know what is about to happen and I want to get to it quickly. I don't even know what I can say about that book without giving anything away, other than I trust nobody. I don't even trust the narrator's head that we're in right now. I don't trust the house. I think the house is the issue. I really do. I really do think the house is the issue. That's what I'm hoping happens. I hope that our narrator is of sane mind. She has done everything she can. Everybody else is just like sinister and bad, and the house is the issue. That is what I'm hoping. Fingers crossed, but I don't know. And I don't want to speculate. I don't want to give anything away. You will not hear anything else about that book until I'm finished with it, which I hope will be tomorrow. But tonight, my focus is going to be on The Inheritance Game. I cannot tell you the last time that I've actually like sat here and like really got into it. It looks like I did at least end, oh, okay, I know where we are. I did at least end at the end of a chapter. I made it to the end of the chapter. So I'm probably gonna give myself like a good 3 hours to read, fingers crossed, considering I only had 4 hours of sleep last night. We shall see how that goes. And also, I don't feel good. It is that time of month and cramps are kicking me in my hind parts. So we can see, we shall see what happens. But I feel very good about this. Some exciting news that I can mention in this vlog, because it will be announced before this video comes out, is that I woke up this morning to an invitation to be at my very first book signing. I will be a signing author That is so wild. I will be a signing author at Midwest Bookish Fest. That is crazy. I will be a signing author at a book event in my debut year, and I just feel incredibly blessed. I don't even know. Like, my mind still hasn't really wrapped around that fact, but like, to wake up, that was the first email in my inbox this morning. I literally like hit snooze as long as I possibly could, and I got up and I swung my feet over, and I try not to like check like social media first thing in the morning, but I do check my email because like here recently I've been expecting a lot of like email stuff coming in, so I am checking it. And that was the first thing, and I mean, that has been my adrenaline shot for the day, because I read that and read the acceptance and was like freaking out and like fighting back tears. It's just crazy. But I want to show y'all one more thing that will also be announced this week, and you all will have time to join this. So if you go over to my Instagram, there's a link in my bio to sign up for my newsletter, and there will also be a link that if you pre-order my book, which is up for pre-order at the time of this video going live, I am doing pre-order incentives where you will get a double-sided bookmark that matches the cover of the book. It says redeemed on this side, and then on the back here it has a quote, and the quote says, when you've been trained to move in the shadows, disappearing into the background becomes second nature. And so yeah, I'm doing a pre-order incentive that when you pre-order the book, if you send me proof of purchase, I will send you the double-sided bookmark, and I'm also waiting for character art prints to come in, so that will be going out as well. Just a lot of exciting things happening, and I'm just so happy. Today has been a good day outside of just being in pain, but I just took some medicine. I'm about to sit under my heating blanket, and I'm going to be reading and hopefully getting a chunk of this book just knocked out. So when I have another update, I will let you know. It is the next day, and I have another reading update for you. So last night I actually ended up not reading a single word like I thought I was going to. My mom called and we ended up talking for 2 hours, catching up and whatnot. So no reading of The Inheritance Game has gotten done in like days, and I really need to prioritize that because I know that author stuff is about to take over. I'm here to update you all on We Used to Live Here, because I did finish that audiobook today, and I had it at 2 times speed, and I honestly don't really know what to think about it. I don't know if listening to it was probably the best medium for me to comprehend this complicated thriller. I did start to look up like different people's like videos and their thoughts on it, just so I could kind of solidify my thoughts. But I honestly could not even, like, I could tell you what happened in the book, but I could not tell you what I was supposed to take from the book, and it makes me feel really slow to not be able to give more information than that. I would say it was a good read. I did have moments where I felt terrified listening to it, and I think it was like the listening experience that had me feeling that way, and even like walking around my house looking at, you know, empty corners crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Would I recommend it? Sure. If you're a thriller person, go for it. I am curious if I would have had a different experience listening to this, reading this like a physical book or on my Kindle. That is what I have for you. That's it. That's all. And as far as The Inheritance Game, I am going to try my hardest to read that book tonight, because I really need to wrap this video up, wrap up the clips. I just like emptied my memory card and put everything on my hard drive, and I have so much footage to go through. Like, I should probably start working on it tonight. I'm not going to, but I probably should. But yeah, I should start going through that tonight. It's just not gonna happen. But I have so many clips, so I'm gonna keep this one short because I don't have a lot to say. Hopefully the next time that you see me, I will either be finished with The Inheritance Game or almost finished with The Inheritance Game. I literally have 50% of that book left to go. It is day 5 into August, and I have not touched my August TBR, which is crazy. And so I'm ready to wrap this video up and start filming like my August reading vlog. So that's my hope. But that is all I have as far as the update right now. Once I have another one, I promise you will know. Okay, peeps, we have made it to the end of this reading vlog, finally. I don't even remember when I started this. I think it's been maybe a little over a week. I'm thinking, yes, a little over a week. I finished The Inheritance Game, and what I can say is that I loved every second of my time in this book. It felt like such a quick read. I just had to have time to sit down and read it, but anytime I picked it up, I felt like the pages were literally turning themselves. We have short chapters, almost like cliffhanger type chapter endings that compel you to get into the next one. So much stuff as a writer that I picked up from here, especially like when it comes to like the characterization and how each character truly felt different. Not even just like the main characters that we're hearing about throughout the entire story, but also the side characters and just the people that were introduced throughout this. Like each one of them seemed like somebody that you could meet walking down the street. I love the ending of this book and how everything come together. I am glad that the main, I guess the main like puzzle of the story was solved, and I like how it was threaded into the next bit. I do think that there are a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like rabbit holes or like different trails that you are led down, and you don't really know if there's going to be a payoff for it, but everything that was in this book was purposeful. I feel like the billionaire Tobias Hawthorne who sent these characters down this rabbit hole were even pulling the strings when it comes to the reader experience, and it felt refreshing and good to like read. The only book that I can think of that I thought about towards the end of this, and I don't know like how others may view this, but when I read Crescent City, one of my biggest, I guess you could say, issues with that series is the Danica thread line, and I saw remnants of that in here, but I just think it was done better here. The whole like Emily storyline, while it was done better, I necessarily didn't care for it, but I understand why it was here. I understood like the overall purpose of the Emily storyline and thread, and yeah, I love this. I loved being in Avery's head, and if you know, some random teenager across America just happened to stumble up on a $1 billion inheritance, I think that Avery was probably one of the most deserving. And I don't know, I enjoyed her thought process. I enjoyed how she handled everybody. I enjoyed that she wasn't some naive little girl, but also it didn't come off like she knew too much and couldn't be bamboozled or like taken advantage of. So yeah, I would highly recommend this. If you have read this book and you have recommendations for other books like it, I would really love the recommendation, because I flew through this. I had the best time. So we're gonna end this video here, and I'm probably gonna be starting another vlog as soon as I end this one. If you've made it this far, leave me the puzzle emoji for the inheritance games and just the game of puzzle pieces that had to be put together within that book. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you've not already subscribed, make sure you do so that you don't miss another upload from me. And if you enjoy the content that I'm providing here, make sure you share with your friends and family and all your bookish peeps so that we can continue to grow this bookish community. Thank you so much for your time. I will see you all in the next one. Bye!